Yes, people. How are we all doing? Welcome all back to the channel for the Liverpool versus Crystal Palace 1-0 match reaction. It's a bit of a different feeling. I was tempted to do it last night, but I know me. I know I needed a bit of time to sit back and reflect on the game and on the season as a whole. Obviously, there was another game that happened straight after ours yesterday, which would just be our luck that Arsenal dropped points then. But the stuff like that, which I know I needed time to sit back and think about before I came out and done a reaction, said stuff that I didn't want to say and didn't believe in. Now I feel like I'm in the best spot. I mean, I'm on with Footy Judge Mo next. I feel like I'm in the right spot to say what I truly think about a lot of things regarding the football club at the minute. And especially about yesterday as well. But if you're new here and you're not ready, make sure you hit that like button, you're hitting that subscribe button, you're turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any more content. Make sure you hit the likes as well. It massively helps out with the algorithm. Let me also put this banner on as well. I always forget to put this banner on, but apparently I've been told I need to put the banner on more. So yeah, let's get into this. We're going to start off with just a basic sort of thing about our season. First off, though, before we get anywhere, yes, it's the day of the Hillsborough anniversary, 1989, 15th of April. 96 people went to a football match and didn't come back home. That should never happen. Should never happen again. And we need to pay our respects and our tributes at this time. You know, it never gets any easier for the people the families of the people who were affected. So as always, justice for the 97. And we remember on this day. We remember on this day, and whenever people try and joke about shit like that, there's a reason why I get so passionate about it. So it's a big day like that. But in regards to Liverpool at the minute, I feel that we got handed a lifeline yesterday that we don't deserve. We got handed a lifeline yesterday that we do not deserve at all. We have not played well for large parts of this season. We haven't. That's a stone cold fact. We've not played well for a number of games in the season. I'd say if you were to rank the best performances, you've probably got less than 10, which are real good performances. A number of them have been all right, but the big thing has been we've just been getting over the line in these games. We've just been getting over the line, which has been massive. Recently, we've struggled to get over the line, and we saw that yesterday. Defensively, we've been shambolic compared to what we normally are. Let's keep it real. We've been shambolic to a man defensively for large parts of the season. My favourite Jurgen Klopp Liverpool teams weren't necessarily. So I know people say 17, 18 was their favourite one, and like 21, 22, and the seasons where we scored a bucket load of goals. If you know me, you know as a football fan, as a person who likes watching football, I love defensive football. I think it takes a lot more skill. I think it's a lot more impressive. And when we were so defensively solid, especially in that 18-19 season, that for me is the highest standard of football this team has ever played. That 18, I keep saying 19-20, that 18-19 season where we conceded like 22 goals in the league. The level of defensive quality that season was ridiculous. We need to get back to that. And I'm hoping that, you know, there's reason I've been big on Amorim. Amorim is a very good defensive manager. His teams are always near the top of the best defenses in Europe. His back five is so well structured defensively, but still dangerous on the attack. But for Liverpool right now under Jurgen Klopp, we need to find a way to become defensively solid again. And how we do that, I don't really know, because it's been a problem all season. But when you've got goalkeepers like Alisson and Kelleher, they bail you out. They bail you out big time. But that can only go on for so long. That can only go on for so long. And recently, we've been seeing what happens when it can't go on. Defensively, we need to get back. What we need to look at really though is the attack at the minute, because that is not firing at all. We're creating the chances still, but we're just not putting them in the back of the net, and that's the problem. When you're going to concede goals, which we are going to this season because we've been so defensively weak and defensively frail and open and exposed, you have to outscore teams. And for large parts of the season, we were doing that. But we've hit this point, which we hit a number of times in seasons gone by, where teams are holding out against us, and you need your big players in your attack to turn up. And once again, we're having the same problem we've had for a number of years now, where none of the attackers decide they want to turn up in this running. None of them. And that's a problem. That's a problem. I made my thoughts very clear on the matter about a month ago. About a month ago, I sat there and I said Cody Gakpo should be starting in our front three. And I was ridiculed. I was hounded. I was given so much abuse for saying that. You go look at the last two games that he's played. He's been our best attacker in both, and he only started one of them. He came off the bench in the other one against Crystal Palace and was arguably our best attacker there. Atalanta, best attacker again. He's a threat on the left. That's his natural position. You know what he brings you on the left that we don't have normally? Creativity. I'm going to ask everyone this in the comments. When was the last time you people remembered a Luis Diaz cross that found a man? When was the last time you remember a Luis Diaz cross that was really good and found a man that led to a chance? I'll wait, because I sat there the other night and thought about it. Been a long, long time since I remember one of them where he's beat his man and put a good cross into the back post for someone. Do you know how many times Gakpo done it against Atalanta? Twice. Do you know how many times he done it against Crystal Palace? Twice. It's 4. In less than 2 games, we got 4 dangerous crosses put in, which people haven't finished. On another day, people finished out, and we're looking at it going, wow, yes. Diaz to Salah against United. There we go. We got one. Any other ones? So we've got 3. He's behind on 3. So we need another 3 from Diaz to match what Gakpo's creativity is. You know how many chances Gakpo created? I'm going to double check this because I don't want to lie and suggest stuff here. I just want to find out. Gakpo created 2 yesterday, and I think it was 5 against Atalanta, weren't it? Was it 5 against Atalanta? It was 5. So Cody Gakpo in his last 2 games created 7 chances, with 3 of them being big chances. Do you want to know something really funny? Do you want to know something really, really funny, people? You know, Luis Diaz this season in the Premier League, where's the big chances created stat? PL. Oh, is it on SofaScore when I'm going to find it? Luis Diaz. There we go. Big chances created. So Diaz has created 5 big chances this season, people. Gakpo created 3 in 2 games. And if I go to Burnley, because that was the other game he played on the left wing. If I go find Burnley away in December, Gakpo had another 2 chances created that game. So we had 9 chances created in the 3 games he's played on the left wing. 9 chances created in the 3 games he's played on the left wing. That is mental. That's what we need on that left-hand side. Because our front line benefits from when you have a creator and 2 finishers. It's always been that way. With Bobby, he was the creator. Mane and Salah were your 2 finishers. Then, for the first 6 months, Diaz was somewhat the creator. Then you have Mane also being a bit of a creator, but being a finisher. And then Salah being a finisher. But Salah was also the creator, arguably. The only front 3 where... But even then, I was going to say the only front 3 where it's different. Salah, Jota, Mane. Salah was just the creator. And Jota and Mane finish. Diaz has been putting up numbers, Gakpo hasn't. Should we have a little look at this? Well, should we have a little look at this? So Diaz this season has 13 goals and 4 assists in 44 games. And Gakpo has 14 goals and 4 assists in 47 games. So Gakpo's got more numbers. Gakpo's got better numbers. If we want to do across their whole Liverpool careers, Gakpo has... trying to do maths for me these 73 games, 21 goals, 6 assists. Diaz has 91 games, 24 goals, and 10 assists. That's an all constant across both of them. So Gakpo's played, 20 less games and got 3 less goals and 4 less assists. All the while being chucked in centre mid, being chucked on the right wing, being chucked here, there, and everywhere, getting a lot more minutes off the bench, not starting as many games. How can you look at Gakpo's numbers and Diaz's numbers and tell me that Diaz has been the better player in terms of more effective for what we need? Please. He took on Kyle Walker against Manchester City. He took on Diogo Dalot against Manchester United. What are we, fucking QPR? We QPR when they had Tara. Jibril Cisse. Yay! Get in there. Yeah! No, we're not that. We're not that. We're a team that needs an effective front three. And I'm going to go back every single person. Let's go back to pre-season. Let's go back to pre-season because you know what we've done? We've come full circle. We've come full circle as a fan base. Who was, at the start of the season, every single person's front three? At the start of the season, who did everyone say our best front three was? After watching pre-season, after watching how we ended the previous season. Who did everyone say our best front three was? I'll wait. Because I remember exactly who I said. So we got honestly saying Diaz, Darwin, Salah. Diaz, Gakpo, Salah. Salah, Diaz, Jota. If Gakpo starts next game and stinks, we'll come back to this. That's great. That's great, Velv. For me, it was Salah, Jota, Diaz. Okay, Gagandeep. Okay. Diaz, Gakpo, Salah. Okay. Gakpo, Jota, Salah was always my fave three. I can tell you exactly what me and Hassam, because he was the one I was doing the most shows with at the time. Me and Hassam said the best front three at the start of pre-season was. It was Salah on the right, it was Gakpo in the middle, or on the left, and it was Jota. It was Salah, Gakpo, Jota. That was the best front three. That was the front three everyone wanted to see start this season. Because it was the one that started against Bayern. It was the one that started, I'm sure, against, was it Darmstadt? It was the one that had the most numbers when we were playing the likes of Karlsruhe. It was the front three that was in form. It was the front three that worked best. Do you know how many times it's played together this season? Do you know how many times it's played together this season? I'll find out for you right now. It has played together for... It didn't play against Burnley. So we can discount pretty much all of Feb. I actually don't even think it's played together much this season, if it has at all. Has it played together much this season, if at all? I'm sure someone in the comments can tell me. Because I can't find anything there. Just based on injuries and when people would have got the chances to play and stuff. I just don't think it's played together much. Yeah, let me just do this real quick. They only play together as subs. So our best front three, our most technical front three, our front three with the most chemistry that works together best, play together only off the bench. Can you tell me how that works? Can you tell me how we expected to do anything this season? You can't. I know. I know what. Sorry, give me a minute. Um, what evidence do you have to suggest that's the best front three? Last season, and when they've played individually this season. I know what Darwin can give me. Don't take this as me wanting to get rid of Darwin. The difference is Gakpo wasn't putting in performances to when it starts, even when he was playing in that attack. Because he wasn't playing in his position. He wasn't playing in the role that he should be playing in. You can't ask someone to put in consistent performances when one game they're in midfield, one game they're on the right, one game they're up front, one game they're getting 30 minutes, one game they're getting 20 minutes, one game they're getting 50 minutes. You cannot build up any form of consistency or any form of quality when you're not getting the opportunities provided. And let's not act like he didn't single fucking handedly drag us that Carabao Cup. The only trophy we have won this season, the only trophy we may win this season. Gakpo was the guy to get us there. Gakpo scored in the first round, in the second round, in the third round, in the quarters, in the semis. The only round he didn't score in was the final and he hit the post in that game. So every single one of them games, Gakpo scored in. The Europa League, people might criticize, oh, it's the Europa League. Gakpo's probably been our best player in the Europa League. Probably. I don't know what more people want to see. So just go, you know what, fair enough, Gakpo deserves a running. Because I'm watching Diaz cock up chance after chance after chance. I'm watching Nunez cock up chance after chance after chance after chance. I'm watching Salah right now cock up chance after chance after chance after chance. But no, I can't have Gakpo in there. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Gakpo's the guy. Gakpo is the guy. I just need to see him get a run out. And if Amarim comes in, expect to see Gakpo get some opportunities next year because Gakpo, what the play that Gakpo is, Amarim will quite like. He's flexible, he's versatile, he can do jobs across the front three. That's what we need. That is what we need. So if you're asking me right now, my front three for the rest of the season is Salah, Jota, Gakpo. Diaz off the bench, Nunez off the bench. That's what you want. Because them players with pace, they're what you need. They're what you need. You need them in behind. You need them running off the shoulder. You need them up against tired legs, up against tired defenses. That's what you want. That's what you want to be up against. None of this running up and then doing... No. Gakpo, Jota, Salah. Clinical. Lethal. Dangerous. That's what you want. You want players who are incisive. Well, our biggest issue recently, bar the defence, has been we have not been clinical. We've not. So how do you address that? You put in clinical forward number 1, clinical forward number 2, and clinical forward number 3. I'm going statistically here, people. Cody Gakpo is our third best finisher. Jota's number 1, Salah's number 2, Gakpo's number 3. Gakpo is also one of our better creators. Salah is the best. I think it's Nunez second, Gakpo third, Jota fourth, Diaz fifth. So surely you would go by all the metrics, all the measurable metrics, take all that into account, and then go, I need to play my best front three. Our best front three is Salah, Jota, Gakpo, and you bring Nunez and you bring Diaz off the bench if you have to chase games. And go, at that point, you go chaos ball then. Right, I'm also going to address this Salah stuff. I'm going to address it because I don't get why we've all of a sudden changed the narrative on Mo Salah. Let's go back. I'm going to take every single person back to January 1st. Liverpool have just beaten Newcastle 4-2. Mo Salah's left that game with 2 goals and an assist, a man of the match performance. Mo Salah has left that game with, if I remember correctly, 15 goals and 8 assists by the halfway point in the season. He is top of the goal scoring charts. He is top of the assist charts. He is top of the combined GA charts. He is pretty much the front runner at that point in time for Premier League Player of the Year. Why now are we saying that 4 months later, when 3 of them he's been unavailable for, we're now saying he's washed, he's finished, he needs to be sold, we need to get rid of him, yada, 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 yada. It has been 5 fucking games. He's played about 5 games. He came back. He got rushed back by this football club. You know his first game back where he got rushed back? Goal assist. That fucked him up again for another 3 weeks. Comes back after that. He's won us 5 points in the last couple of games. Is he not? Is he in the same vein of form that he was in at the start of the season? No. Is he in the same vein of form that I would expect from Mo Salah at this point? No. Does he deserve criticism for the last couple of games? Yes. Should we now sit there and go, we need to get rid of him, we need to sell him, we need to push him out the door? No. No. Because he is still our top scorer. He is still our top assister. And he weren't fucking here for 3 months. He weren't here for 3 months. And he still topped every metric for us. Why should we be desperate to sell him? What player in world football is going to do that? What player? What player? What player? Anyone tell me what player? No one. There's no one. Now, my stance on Salah is I would like to keep him. I would like to get a new 2-year contract sorted for him. If, for whatever reason, Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes and the people in charge decide to accept a 130 or a 140 million pound offer for him, will I be disappointed? Yes. But if there was one group of people who I would trust in replacing Mo Salah, it is them. Anyone else? No. There's a reason why in the summer, when we were getting 150 million offers for him, I was saying you cannot sell him because I didn't trust the people in charge to replace him correctly. Now, we've got the correct people in high up positions, in recruitment positions, who brought in Mo Salah, who had such success. I would trust them to identify the correct way to replace him. But the ideal scenario is you don't replace him, you give him a new 2-year deal, and you go for it. That's what you do. That's what you do. The idea that all of a sudden after 5 poor games, he's lost and he's gone and we need to get rid of him and the writing's on the wall and this, that, and the other is horrendous. Because if that was the basis, every single player in this team needs to go, Van Dijk should have went last summer. Van Dijk should have went last summer, people, shouldn't he? If this is the basis that we're going off to get rid of the players, Van Dijk should have gone last summer. Trent should have gone last summer. Everyone, bar Salah and Alisson, should have gone last summer. Because they were all crap. They were all horrendous. They all let us down. There's a reason we came 5th. But you use logic and you understand top-class players remain threatening, remain top-class for a while. Is Salah physically slowing down? Yes. He's probably not as quick as he once was. I'll admit, he's probably not as quick as he once was. Do you not think he knows that? Because he does. That's why you've seen him dropping deeper, creating, operating in half spaces. This has been a thing all season. But people have waited for him to struggle for a bit of form after injury and have now crashed it on him. It's completely wrong. It's completely wrong. The man was the top scorer. The man was the top assister. The man came back from AFCON and in his first game back, regained top scorer and top assister. What more do people want? What more do certain people want? Genuinely, tell me, because I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't. I just don't. Forward line is let us down at points. The defense, we need to talk about the defense. We need to talk about the defensive structure, though. Butari Endo has been very good this season. I quite like Butari Endo. I remember the stream where we bought him, me and James Redmond. We saw that he was a Champions League winner, top player, all this sort of stuff. And from December to probably about March, really important to us when he played. Really, really important when he played. This past month, you've seen someone who's tired. You've seen someone who looks leggy, and you've seen his flaws be exasperated. You've seen his flaws get exasperated. That's what you're seeing. I said against Atalanta, you're watching a player who cannot receive the ball under pressure. Yesterday, we saw the player who, again, could not receive the ball under pressure. We saw the player who... Bear in mind, the warning signs were there. The warning signs were there when we played Crystal Palace away, and he had to get hooked at half-time because, once again, we just couldn't handle the pressing. He couldn't handle it. Will Hughes was all over him. We were lucky to not concede a penalty, bearing in mind Endo got caught on the ball. Now, yesterday, we saw it again. But we saw the problem in terms of defensively was a little bit slum. Tommy, you're my guy, but Salah getting every excuse does me head in. Trent, CJ, Ebu, Jota all come back from injury, and everyone's like they're not good. With Mel, it's excuse after excuse. Trent, I'm not going to crash on because he came back from injury. Curtis Jones, I'm not going to crash on because he came back from injury. Ebu wasn't fucking injured. He's just probably lost his place to Kwanzaa, which is a bit mad. Let's keep it a buck. Losing your place to Kwanzaa, who wasn't even part of our first team squad last season, is a bit mad. And Jota, not going to crash on because he's come back from injury. Fine. So I'm not giving anyone else special excuses. And you know what? Honestly, if I was given anyone special compensation, best believe I'm giving it to the player who has single-handedly led our attack for 7 years. Been consistent for 7 years. Been that guy every single year for 7 years. Best believe I'll give him a little bit of dispensation when he has 5 games of off form. Because he's earned it. He's earned it. But back to my point on Endo. Everyone this summer has been saying we don't need a DM. You got Endo there. Endo was a good backup. Endo was a good rotation piece. Endo was a good player to put in a needs-must scenario. Endo is your Milner. We didn't want Milner starting. We didn't want Milner starting for years. We don't want Endo starting now for years. That's how it works. That's how it works. I'm sorry. People like Endo. I like Endo. I'm shocked drunk Vigo isn't he ripping my head off for it. But Taru Endo cannot be our starter next year. He can't. He can't. I'm going by the basis that Amarin comes in. Whether Amarin wants to trial Trent as a midfielder and have him alongside McAllister, or he wants to go out and buy a DM in Morten Hajulmand, or a Martin Zubimendi, or someone of that ilk, or even wants to trial out Bajcetic as a starter. Wataru Endo cannot be that starter. He cannot be that starter. He can't. He can't. I like him. I think he's a great lad. I think he's put in some really good games this season against Man City, against Arsenal. In the big games, he normally turns up pretty well. But it's these games against Crystal Palace or against Atalanta or against United where the impetus is on him to be creative, to be strong on the ball. When we're relying on him on the ball, for his on-the-ball qualities, that's where his weaknesses are. When you're relying on him for his combative nature, i.e. against an Arsenal or a City, that's where he works because that's his strengths. That's his strengths. As that DM, as that tough tackling DM, as that player who likes to win a duel, who likes to win a battle, who likes to win aerial duels and lay it off to the better players. That's where he works. But against the Crystal Palace, who are sitting back and almost telling you, come at us, do something. Come on, let's go there. Endo struggles, and we saw it yesterday, and we saw it against Atalanta. Every single time he would get the ball, he was the pressing trigger. Adam Morton and Will Hughes had him on ropes. They had him on ropes. And against Atalanta, who was it? It was it Wendell? Was that his name? Or no, Edison. That was his name. Edison had him on ropes. He had him on ropes. That's a problem. That's a problem. I like Endo. When you're competing at this level, you can't afford mistakes like that. You can't afford such a glaring weakness like your DM not being great on the ball and not being able to play around, with his back and play around and stuff. That's a problem. That is a problem. And you know what the issue is? We are now in a spot where we don't have a solution to that. You either play Endo and hope he can somehow figure it out, or you move your best midfielder in McAllister back to the 6, sacrifice large parts of his game, and go for Szoboszlai and whoever else, whether you want Jones or Elliott there. And that's a bit of a defensively weak midfield. That's the problem. Now, how do you address that? I don't know. I'm not the manager. I'm not the gaffer. And also, do not believe the Niko Kovac stuff. The Niko Kovac stuff is bollocks. We are not looking at a manager who's failed at every decently sized club he's been at. We're not. Good. Now that that's been dealt with, I'm going to give props to someone. Big ups Andy Robertson. I know that man's got a lot of stick this year. I've always been a big Robertson fan. I always have been. I've always been a big Andy Robertson fan. I love what he does. I love what he is. Andy Robertson is the type of footballer that I like. He reminds me of what I was when I used to play footy. Someone who wasn't the most technically gifted, but do you know what he was? He worked hard. He would do his job. He would do all that for you. And yesterday, he was the big... He was one of the only guys who turned up for us yesterday. Big up Robertson. Let's go back to centre-back. Ibu Konate. I genuinely believe that Konate's lost his starting spot to Quansah. Do you know how mental that sounds? But I genuinely believe it. I was shocked he played yesterday. I really was. Quansah starting at United. Quansah's probably going to start at Atalanta. I think there is a real thing of Quansah potentially taking that starting spot off Konate for the rest of the season. Do you know how mental that sounds? And yesterday, we saw the bad of Konate. He struggled up against Mateta. That was something that was concerning, struggling up against Mateta like that. I don't like seeing someone struggle like Mateta. Mateta's a good striker. He's a good striker. Yeah. He was all right at mites. But he was getting dominated by Mateta in the air and with his back to goal. Passion-wise from Konate yesterday. This has always been a thing with Konate. Let's not rewrite history now. Konate's always been a little bit of a weak spot with his on-the-ball quality. He's never been a Joel Matip of types. You know what? We miss Joel Matip. I miss Joel Matip. Now I'm gonna dedicate a little bit of time to Joel Matip here. Joel Matip is the most underrated player we've had during Jurgen Klopp's time here. Let's keep it real. He's the most underrated player we've had in Jurgen Klopp's time here. He is. What? Matip was a centre-back without much of a weakness. If I was to ask you a weakness of Joel Matip, what would it be? Pace. But he knows how to play without his pace because he never had it anyway. Matip was brilliant. There's a reason why him and Van Dijk was such a good partnership. They were such a good partnership. If Joel Matip could... Honestly, we missed him. We miss him so much at the minute. We miss his experience. We miss his quality. He is the good parts of Konate and the good parts of Quansah combined. And it's a shame that he's gone because I feel that the likes of an Amorim would have really liked to work with the Joel Matip and the quality that he brings on the ball and how he plays as a centre-back. I miss Matip. And when I go from watching Matip to watching Konate is, again, like an Endo, very good in them big games. Very good in them games where you need someone to, bam, get stuck in, get the crowd riled up, get everyone going, Ebu. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. You want that. But in games like yesterday, where once again, teams are sitting back, teams are putting the impetus on us, you start to see the flaws in Konate's game. His inconsistent passing. It's not horrendous, but it's inconsistent. For everyone that goes through the lines and picks up into the feet of a Diaz or into the feet of a Nunez, there's 3 which are blocked, or 3 which are intercepted, or 3 which go out for a throw-in. Defensively, though, that's where the deeper-rooted problems are, because recently the gap between Conor Bradley and Konate, way too big. Way too big. For that first 45 minutes, anytime Crystal Palace were on the attack, They had the freedom of the fucking cop between Bradley and Canate. And that's not a one-time thing. That has been a gap that's opened up in that channel with most combinations on that right-hand side, whether it's Bradley and Canate, whether it's Bradley and Kwanzaa, whether it's Gomez and Kwanzaa, whether it's Gomez and Canate. Ironically, people, the only one that don't mental sound. The only one that doesn't have a gap like that is when Trent's at right back. When Trent plays with Kwanzaa or Canate, we are not as exposed. So this crap defender, Trent Alexander-Arnold, is actually our best defender in terms of holding structure on the right-hand side. That first goal yesterday, Bradley gets dragged out. And do you want to know what it is with Bradley? I like Bradley, but you're now starting to see inexperience. That's not a bad thing. He's going to be inexperienced. I'm not going to crash it on Bradley, but you're starting to see the inexperience. He gets dragged out a little bit. He sometimes loses a little bit of his head in terms of positioning wise and stuff. One-on-one defensively, he's pretty good, but it's the rest defense and the off-the-ball defense where I do think sometimes he struggles. But that's where you want your experienced players. That's where you want your experienced players of your Canates, of your Endos, of your VVDs to step in and bail them out, because it's not a constant thing. But when it does happen, you need your experienced pros to step in and bail out the young kid. We didn't do that yesterday. First goal comes, Bradley gets dragged out, Endo doesn't block the cross. Do not ask me why Canate stood where he stood. I've played at centre-back before. I was a centre-back for the final couple of years of when I was playing Sunday League. I've never once, when someone's tried to do a cut-back, stood pretty much on the byline. That's not where you go. It's not where you go. You stand on the edge of the 6-yard box. Stand on the edge of the 6-yard box because that's where the cutback's going to go. You invite them to go in that really small gap between you and the byline, because if they finish in that gap, nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. If they can finish from such a tight angle, there's nothing you can do. I.e. Sergio Aguero against us in 2019. That gap I get. That's something you look at Alisson maybe, or you probably should save that. But ultimately, if he's putting in a shot from like that angle, fair enough. But when we are leaving Eze, probably their most dangerous forward, unmarked on the edge of our 6-yard box, what do you expect? What do you expect? And again, you just look at it like that. And Van Dijk's not clear either. Van Dijk is very, 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 very lucky Andy Robertson bailed him out yesterday. Otherwise, he would be getting cooked relentlessly for that slip. That slips a part of football. But I know what would have been happening on Twitter, on YouTube, if Mateta's chip had went in. So Virgil van Dijk best be given a big fucking thank you to Andy Robertson for bailing him out, because that was bad. Midfield-wise yesterday, Curtis Jones, he needs more minutes off the bench. He needs more minutes off the bench. I don't agree with throwing him back into the starting 11 at this point. I don't agree with it. You can see, right, our team under Jurgen Klopp struggles to progress the ball. That's what I will say. Our team under Jurgen Klopp struggles to progress the ball. There are ways that we progress it. You either go through Trent and his range of passing, and Van Dijk and his range of passing, or you go through Robertson and Szoboszlai with them picking up the ball and driving. They pick up the ball and they just drive forwards and take on one or two and try and do something from there. The only other player I could see being a bit of a progressor is Harvey, because he's got a range of passing like that. But I do need to see a little bit more of it. But Harvey's like the next level below that. I think him and McAllister sit there. But we progress the ball either through Trent and Van Dijk's long-range passing, or Robertson and Szoboszlai running forwards. Yesterday in that midfield, we had no progression. Robertson can progress the ball. Robertson progresses the ball in his way, which is up that left-hand side. He doesn't come inside. He doesn't do much else. He goes up and down that left-hand side. That's what he does. Didn't have Trent starting. So that's one aspect of you. Because I like to... Trent does a lot of his progressing from the midfield areas. He'll sit in that double pivot. when he inverts. He'll pick up the ball. He'll be at the quarterback. He'll send the ball over the top for Salah. That, we didn't have that yesterday. So that's where you need Szoboszlai. I know people have been getting onto Szoboszlai for his drop in form, for his, what should we say, his quality in certain moments. We miss Szoboszlai when he's not on the pitch. We do. Whether people like it or not, we miss him when he's not on the pitch. He should have had an assist yesterday, but Jota had a shot blocked by Nathaniel Klein, which you just knew was going to happen, by the way. I said on that watch along yesterday, Nathaniel Klein's at centre-back. Watch him have a blind of a game. Szoboszlai, what he does on that right-hand side, could he be better in quality? Yes. 100%. There are moments where you watch him and go, how have you fucked that pass up? How have you done that? How have you done this? Yada, 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 yada. Stuff like that, you can certainly question. But. I look at what Dominic Szoboszlai's done for us this season in terms of the underappreciated side of the ball. We need that in this team. Because you saw yesterday, when he's not on the pitch, we don't progress the ball well. He's not this exceptional passer. He's shooting sometimes I don't get. But do you know what he's very good at doing? Picking up the ball from the centre-backs, taking on two men, getting it into the final third. Picking the ball up from our defensive third, putting it into the final third. He's the only guy in our midfield that will do that. And when we struggle to progress the ball because we've not got Trent, you need a guy to do that. Because you know what you saw in that first half yesterday? We struggled massively progressing the ball. Who came on at half-time? Dominic Szoboszlai. How many chances did we create in the second half? 4 big chances. You get Szoboszlai on that pitch, you do that. Is it the best role for him? No, not at all. I don't want to see him doing it next year. He should be in that front line next year. But when I look at this team's makeup right now, he has to do that job. And I think that job partly contributes to why he's so wasteful in possession. I don't know how many of you played in midfield before. The one thing is, I wasn't ever a fantastic footballer. I was decent. But therefore, I'll be chucked in pretty much every position. I've played every position bar left back because I'm right-footed. And surprisingly, someone didn't want me doing as well. Cancelo, 7 years before it became popular. So, when you're in midfield and you're sprinting from your defensive third to the opposition's defensive third, so from the defensive third to the attacking third, and you're sprinting from there to there, it's fucking tiring. It gets on your legs, especially when your team's only form of attack down the entire right-hand side is that. When your team's only form of attack down the right-hand side is that. And you're doing that every 2 minutes, picking the ball up, driving. By the time you've done your 4-4-5 one, you're sitting there when you get to the end of it going, fuck. And that's where the mistakes come in. That's why we need Trent back massively, because it takes some of the impetus off Szoboszlai. What you get when you have Szoboszlai and Trent, you can progress the ball in multiple ways. If Trent's progression isn't working, if his passes aren't finding the players, if his passes aren't hitting the targets, do you know what that means? You can just go to Szoboszlai, get him to run through the lines. That's what it's about. That's what it's there for. And we don't use it. Now, Harvey Elliott was so incredibly harshly done by yesterday. How that man didn't come on that pitch earlier is beyond me. It is beyond me. He was absolutely fantastic in the run where we had now Salah. He was fantastic. You know what else? Against Atalanta, he was one of our better players. Against Atalanta. Him and Gakpo. And you know what? When he came on yesterday, he was pretty good again. What more does Harvey Elliott genuinely need to do to earn a start for Liverpool? If you were to ask me right now, people, I'll tell you right here, right now, I want Harvey Elliott and Szoboszlai as our midfield partnership. I do. I want Elliott and Szoboszlai as our midfield partnership. The only slight problem with that midfield partnership is Szoboszlai has to go on the same side as Robertson. It then means that both of your runners are on the same side. But when you add Trent in there, when you add Mac in there, you're fine. McAllister sits in the 6 because we are not playing teams now. The only team where I could potentially need Endo in there for is Everton and Tottenham. They're the 2 games I could potentially need Endo, where you need someone who's going to battle, where you need someone who's going to appreciate the tackling side of the things, and maybe Aston Villa. The rest, we're going to be going up against teams who are going to sit deep in a low block and invite us to do something. They're going to sit there and go, come at us, create around us. We're going to be a wall. It's on you to do something. That's where you need your creators. That's where you need your game changers. That's where I don't need an Endo because I don't need I don't need a tough tackling DM who isn't fantastic on the ball. I don't need it. What I need is playmakers, is ball progressors, is people who I can trust in the final third to be a difference maker. And McAllister, Elliott, and Szoboszlai are that. If I'm in a game and we go 1-0 up, but all of a sudden the midfield starts to get lost a little bit, you know what you can do? You can bring on Endo, you can bring on Jones, you can bring on the control. That's what you can do. You can bring on the control. That's what you can do. But what we're doing now is we don't gain control, and by the time we bring on the attacking talent, it's too late. It's too late. It's way too late. Way too late. Now, who else do we need to discuss? Who else? Have I touched on Nunez? Right, Nunez. Nunez, again, we're having the same problems with Nunez that we've had for his 2 years here. I like Nunez. I know Nunez isn't going to be sold in the summer. I know that. So I need to understand how we get the best out of Nunez. Nunez at the minute isn't even having the chances created for him. I know he missed one yesterday, and that is a typical Nunez miss because if he doesn't hit that as well, it goes in. But the excuses that get pulled out for him, I agree, needs to be nipped in the bud. We can't keep mollycoddling this striker that we paid 80 million quid for. We can't. So, I like Nunez. I know what he can bring this team. I know that as a footballer, there's not many like him who can provide that level of threat off of counterattacks, off of the bench, just because of the type of profile that he is. But what we're doing now, when you have Diaz and Salah at the minute playing, is we're not even creating the chances for him. He's not even missing many at the minute because the chances aren't being created. Nunez can give me stuff. Nunez has at points this year been a threat, been important for how this front line works. Right now, I need clinicalness. And for that, it means he goes on the bench and he comes on for the last 20 minutes if we're chasing the game for chaos. Is that how I expect to use my £80 million striker? No. But it's how I'm going to have to use him. And we're going to have to wait for the next striker to come in. Tucker, the point about, yes, Nunez should arguably create chances for himself with his runs. He still does. He just doesn't get the ball. You can only create chances with your runs if you're getting the ball. Otherwise, there's no point. And right now, he's not getting the ball. Diaz isn't giving him the ball, and Salah's passing isn't there at the minute. So ultimately, the creativity that he was getting at the start of the season when you were getting decent numbers out of him is now gone. So now you're seeing the problems. Are there certain parts of Nunez's game which still grind my gears and he still needs to work on? Yes. Stop sitting offside. You're quick. You don't need to be offside. You don't need to be offside. You don't. It's simple. You don't need to be offside. So learn to stay onside. But Nunez isn't the guy that I'm most stressed about in this front three. We're going to touch on Diaz now. People might think I have an agenda against Diaz. I quite like Diaz. I remember the first season he came in. He was my favourite attacker because he was just so bright, so energetic, so punchy. He was so punchy in that front three. Then last year I thought we were going to get the turning point with him. So when Diaz came in, we had the problem of the end product wasn't there. He was very good on the dribble. He was very good at beating a man, but the end product wasn't there for him, and that was a problem. That was a problem. Then last year, you saw goals against Palace, you saw goals against Bournemouth, you saw goals against Napoli, and you're sitting there going, right, we're getting somewhere with the end product now. This is the season where he steps up. And in that start of the season where we were wildly inconsistent, Diaz was our best forward. He was adding end product to his game. And then he got injured against Arsenal and missed about 5 or 6 months. And at that point, we took 2 steps back with him. We took 2 steps back. This season, and at the end of last season, but this season, I have seen a forward who, for large parts of the season, didn't want to beat a man. Was just focused on receiving the ball to feet and playing it backwards. But he wasn't the Diaz I knew. Now, since about, just say before City, to give him the benefit of the doubt, before City, we saw the Diaz of old. We saw the Diaz that we bought in the first season. That's what we saw. We saw the Diaz that we bought in 21-22. A player who was happy to beat as a man. A player who had pace, was direct, would try and create stuff. Do you know why that's a problem? We have had this man now since January of 2022. It's going to be 2.5 years in the summer. And we are really at a net negative or a net neutral in terms of his progression, in terms of how he's developed as a footballer. We are at a net neutral. But Diaz isn't at a net neutral anymore. Diaz is no longer 24. Diaz is now 27. Diaz is now 27. Can we afford to have a 27-year-old who has the same problems that he had when we bought him in? Is it unlucky that it's went this way for Diaz? 100%. 100% it's unlucky that it's went this way. And if he didn't get injured, I think we'd be talking about Luis Diaz as one of the best left wingers in the world. 100%. We'd be talking about him as one of the best left wingers in the world. Because before that injury, he had everything you could want. But right now, we are sat in a spot where we are at a net neutral with Diaz after 2 years. But he's not young anymore. You can't give him the same arguments or just give him time. Just let him do this, let him do that, let him do this, let him do that. And ultimately, when people say he's been playing well recently, he's been playing well individually. Has he been benefiting our team? Does our team look better with Luis Diaz on the left wing, or does it look better with Gakpo on the left wing? That's what I ask. Does our team look better with Diaz on the left or with Gakpo on the left? That's all I want to know, people. Are we better with Diaz on the left or Gakpo on the left? And Vel, again, you're trying to run this. There was no excuses for Jota. I said he'd been injured for a while, but let's bear in mind, even I wasn't using that as a strong one because it was 30-odd games without a goal. And people were rightly criticising him for it, and people were suggesting to sell him for it. People were suggesting to sell him for it. That's fine. Do you know what it is, Velv? You know what it is? He's turned that corner. He's always had that same. He's always had that same edge, and this season he's shown it again. I'm seeing Gakpo, and we're not seeing enough Gakpo. That's fine. I've seen enough of Diaz to know that ultimately, what he brings me on the left is an individualistic quality and not a team quality. And right now, I feel we need a team quality on that left hand side. There's been a lot of rumours in the past week, 2 weeks, that PSG are interested in Luis Diaz and would be happy to buy Luis Diaz. I'll tell you right here, right now, if Luis Diaz is the subject of a 100, not 100, 100, I wish, of a £75 million bid or a £70 million bid from PSG, if I get the chance to almost double my money on Luis Diaz, I am running with it. I'm running with it. No one here, no one in the chat, even if you like Diaz, can tell me you are not biting at the opportunity to double your money. If you can double your money on Diaz, you take it and you run. You take it and you run. That's what you do. You take it and you run. Because there are wingers out there who can do what he does for less. For less. And they're younger. I'm telling you right here, right now. I'm telling you right here, right now. We sold Luis Diaz. I'm getting straight on the phone to Tony Bloom, and I'm going, "You're right, lad. Adingra, how much? Sound. Get him in." What does Simon Adingra do that Diaz doesn't? Or what does Diaz do that Simon Adingra doesn't? What? Educate me. Enlighten me, people. What does Diaz do that Simon Adingra doesn't? Because I'm going to pull up the stats here for Simon Adingra. Simon Adingra. There he is. Simon Adingra. What's his stats this year? Adingra this season has played 25 games for Brighton in the Premier League. He's got 6 goals, 1 assist. In the Europa League, he's got... When it loads up... Can it load up? It's not loading up. It's not showing me his Europa League stats. He's got 1 goal, 2 assists in 6 games. Simon Adingra is 22. Simon Adingra has ever so slightly lower levels of quality, but is 5 years younger. He's 5 years younger. I'd love a Rodrigo. I've seen Rodrigo in the chat there. I'd love a Rodrigo. Do I think Rodrigo will leave Real Madrid? No. But if he did, I'd be straight on the phone. Bring him out. Bring him over. I want Rodrigo. That's what I want. And people going about Adingra. Adingra was arguably, one of Ivory Coast's best players in AFCON. He got the assist to win the tournament. More than Diaz has done in big games. And yes, we're looking at it, but I know what Adingra can be. I've seen the intangibles with my eyes in a struggling Brighton side this season, in a Brighton side that plays a stupid, mindless style of football. But even if you don't want him, Luis Diaz is not a profile of winger that is irreplaceable. He's not a profile of winger that is irreplaceable. Let's keep it real. Maybe Kudus on the left could work if you want to go for Kudus. Luis Diaz is not irreplaceable. Luis Diaz is not a profile that is irreplaceable. Kudus is too old as well. Kudus is like 24, isn't he? Mohamed Kudus. Kudus is 23. Kudus is 23. He's 4 years younger than Diaz. He's 4 years younger than Diaz. Oh, mate. Look, Diaz, I think he's a decent lad. I think his dad can be quite funny. I think as a footballer, he's got certain things about him. But if I get 75 million, I'm replacing him. Big up Slowazi. You'll be here complaining about his GNA 27GA. The difference is he's 22, not 27. He's playing in a Brighton side that is shit. Diaz is playing in a Liverpool side that is good. If I was to translate Adingra over to Liverpool, I'd be seeing numbers similar to Diaz, but 5 years younger. And probably not 70 million. But I won't speak on the matter. Big ups for the super chat, though. So, yeah, Diaz, I'd let go. Jota, my thought. I think Jota's the best finisher at the football club. I think he's one of the best finishers in the league. He's a forward who, if he could just stay fit, would be in conversations with some of the best in the world. How do we manage him properly? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I hope the next manager can figure it out. I think some of it. I quite like Somerville as well. Although a lot of people will just say championship tax with him. I quite like Somerville. I think he's a really exciting footballer. Somerville, really exciting footballer. Does exactly what I'd like from a winger. But yeah, I mean, who else have I got? Who else do I have to speak on? I've got nothing to say. Again, Alisson saved us yesterday. First game back, he had to save us. Not a good look for our defence. Let's not talk about fucking Suleimana's selection. He's got no goals this season. Well, Tsimikas. Should we discuss Tsimikas? and why he should be sold? Because he's shit. People, how old do people think Kostas Tsimikas is, by the way? Because the way certain people talk about Kostas Tsimikas, you would think he's 23, he's 24, he's young and he's raw, but he's got something. The man is 28. The man is supposed to be in his prime years as a footballer, and yet he still doesn't know what goal side is. He's got a good delivery. Woo! Yeah! He's got a good delivery. Get in there. Whoa! He's got a decent delivery. That is irrelevant when it takes you 10 games to get to a decent level defensively. When you need to play 10 games in a row to get to a decent level defensively, that somewhat okay delivery is not a negligible point. It's not worthwhile having it. You are a defensive liability. At the best of times. I look at Tsimikas and I go look at Robertson. And I watch Robertson defensively. I think Robertson defensively had a little bit of a fall off this year. He is still night and day ahead of Kostas Tsimikas. Even when Kostas Tsimikas is in form, if I get money for Kostas Tsimikas this summer, I am taking it and I am running. I'll drive him to the airport myself. Who else? I'm just trying to go through me. Do I discuss Gravenberch? Gravenberch doesn't get game time anymore. He was shit against Atalanta. He doesn't get to come off the bench anymore. I'll be very shocked to see if he plays much of a role next year. I'll be very shocked. Who else? I mean, you know who I'd want to replace him. Who I want at left back is Aït-Nouri. Aït-Nouri is the archetypal left wing back for an Amorim system. I mean, I can go through exactly who I'd want to buy this summer. I think we need certain positions. I think you definitely need at least two centre backs. So I'm going Inacio and Murillo. That's if Forest go down. If Forest don't go down, Murillo's probably a little bit tough to say. So Inacio, Murillo. Left back, Aït-Nouri. But I'd also look at Milos Kerkez. Milos Kerkez is the type of guy that I'm interested. He had a very decent game against United. He's had a lot of decent games this season. Someone to keep your eye on. Right back wise, I don't know about Trent. If Trent's at right back, you buy a DM. If Trent's playing DM, you buy a right back. If you're buying a right back, I'm going to do a little bit of scouting right now and tell you exactly who you should buy if you're trying to get a thingy. If you're trying to buy a right back. No, he's probably not him. Again, probably not him. Who am I getting right? I'm not counting Frimpong. I don't think we're getting Frimpong. Right, the reason why I said you need a right back is if Trent is playing in midfield. If Trent is playing in midfield, I need another right back. Because I can't have just Conor Bradley. So if the plan is to put Trent in midfield, you need a player along the lines of what a Hakimi is or what a Pedro Porro is, but at right back. That's what you need. Someone who is threatening like that, but at right back. Now, who that is, I struggle to say. Maybe it's Wilfred St. I know who's decent on FM. But yeah, if you're going to play Trent in midfield, but I like to go by the idea that Trent will just accept doing both. Some games he gets to play midfield, some games he plays out wide. In that case, you're going to DM. In that case, you are paying whatever Sporting Lisbon want for Morten Hjulmand. You're going and buying Morten Hjulmand. You are shaking their hand and you're going. That's what you're doing. I cannot speak higher of Morten Hjelmand. I've watched a lot of sport this year. Every single game I watch of him, I'm impressed by. I think he is an incredible footballer. He's an incredible footballer. There's him and there's what's his name? The one who plays for Porto, the Argentinian fella. Alan Varela. Alan Varela. Him and Alan Varela are the type of people you should be looking at for DM. Players who can do the tackling side of things, can do the battling side of things, but you know what they excel at? On the ball quality. On the ball quality. That's what they excel at. Obviously, there's likes of Zubomendi or who else is there? Who you know does pretty well. I can't even think of one in my head. I'm just and then in the attack, if you're getting rid of Diaz, you need to buy one. Now, who that is, I don't know. Who that is, I don't know. I like Adingra. There's also Enciso, but I worry about his injury history. I think he's a bright footballer, but I do worry about his injury history. There's also likes of if he could just stay fit, I'd be all over Pedro Neto, but again, can't stay fit. You could look at moving Nunez out wide and then bringing a good striker. In that case, you're looking along the lines of a slightly worse version or a slightly less expensive version of what Victor Gyökeres gives you. That's if the club don't want to pay the money for Gyökeres, which, let's be real, they probably won't. So in that case, you're probably looking for who are you looking for in that case, actually? Give me a minute. I'm just trying to find Nunez a stat so I can compare them with people. Yeah. So you're looking at like the likes of a Boniface from Leverkusen, or a Gyökeres, or a what's his name? The one who plays for Thiago Motta's team. Who's the guy who plays for Bologna up front? The Dutch fella. Oh, mad hair. What's his name? Oh, I can't remember his name. Zirkzee. Yes, Joshua Zirkzee. That's the kind of guy that the club will probably look at for a striker. You're looking for the wingers. Obviously, you're going for a different type of profile. But even then, Amrin likes to play with 10s and points. You know who's someone... I'm going to put my neck on the line right now, people. Oh, my God. Do we actually have first refusal on Solanke? Do we actually still have that option on Solanke? What's he looking at this season? They're good numbers, then. They're good numbers, I'm like... No, I'm not even going to suggest. No. Why was I buying into Solanke hype then? No, not Solanke. We sold him for a reason. Isak would be the dream. Isak is a fucking sensational striker, but again, there's injury worries with him. Which probably stick in the mind them. In terms of your wingers or your 10s, sorry. The player that you need to look out for. I'd love it for us to be in a world where we can compete for the Musialas and the Florian Wirtzes of this world, but we're not going to be in that world, unfortunately. You know what though, man? I have my strong thoughts about Tony. I don't think I think as a person, I don't think he's the right guy around the dressing room with the amount of shit he likes to stir. But as a footballer, yes. But the player that you need to look out for should be played with the 10 on the left, Fabio Carvalho. Fabio Carvalho, people. I'm telling you, Fabio Carvalho will get opportunities next year under Amorim, and we'll see why we paid the money for him. We'll see why we were so desperate to get him over the line. You go look at what he's doing for an attacking midfielder. You go look at what he's doing as a forward. Mind blowing. Mind blowing. He is. I know it's the Championship, and people will say Championship tax, but I think the Championship is a very good league to buy from because it teaches these young footballers about the hard side of the game. You can let all footballers want to learn technical stuff. They want to pass the ball. They want to be You need to learn how to be a strong. You need to get the physicality of the game. You need to get that side of your game under control. Playing in the Championship is the exact way to do that. I could go through a number of players in the Championship that I think could be players to look at for Liverpool, who I think could have decent impacts. Carvalho coming up, definitely one of them. Somerville, fantastic winger, definitely going to be snapped up. Definitely going to be snapped up in the summer by someone, and I wouldn't be shocked if it was us, because as a winger he ticks every box. I know that we were heavily looking at him in the January as well. There's it's centre back Jacob Greaves from Hull, another really good player. Archie Gray from Leeds, another one, exceptional. He's like 17. He's 17. If you get Archie Gray, 17. And people moan about the Championship. Look at the players that have come from the Championship. Look at the players that have come from the Championship. They're all ridiculous. They are all fucking ridiculous. Some of them. They're crazy good. Honestly. They're really, really good. I think people need to respect what the Championship is. Who else is there? Patrick Schick. I don't think we'll go for Patrick Schick. I really don't. Bellingham came from the Championship. Jota came from the Championship. Hayden Hackney. That's another great player. Hayden Hackney from Middlesbrough scored against Chelsea earlier this season. He's a good DM. We've got to bear in mind, people, what Liverpool is a team that, under this ownership, want to develop these young players. They want to develop these young players, and they want to give opportunities to these young players. That's why I expect Amorim to be the top of the list, because his record with these young players is ridiculous. Let's keep it real. They're ridiculous. When you look at the names he pulled off, Gyökeres, Gonçalves, Mateus Nunez, João Palhinha, Nuno Mendes, Mamadou Ugarte, he's made so much money from them, and they've been very good players for him. That's what the club will like. So then you transfer that to Liverpool, and you're looking at the young players here. Harvey Elliott, Fabio Carvalho, Tyler Morton, Jarell Quansah, Conor Bradley. Even if you want to go for slightly older, Curtis Jones and Sepp Vandenberg. Players like that are going to get opportunities under Amorim. Players like that are going to fetch a lot of money for Liverpool. Players like that will be factors if they don't succeed at Liverpool as to why we get success at Liverpool, because we make money off them. Do I wish Liverpool sat there and didn't have to be sell to buy, and of a model where we have to, sacrifice 1 or 2 years to get there in 3 or 4? Yes, I wish we could just spend money. But I ultimately know that's what my football club is. And as a fan, whilst I would like us to be the other way, I don't have many issues with us this way, because it's kind of how I like it. It's kind of how I like it. I like storylines like that. I like stuff like that. Do I hate the uncertainty and the stuff in between? Yes. But I ultimately have to embrace what my football club is, and that's what it is. Should Amorim come through the door, expect a big emphasis on young talent that has excelled statistically to come through the door. You'll see. I think we'll have a very young side at some point. And when you've got a manager like Amorim who's so good at man management, but knows how to manage the experience side of things and this, that, and the other, that's what you want. That is exactly what you want, people. Anything else you want me to talk about? Because I've got another 15 minutes before I'm on with Footy Judgment. That's what I need to do. Actually, I need to set the redirect up for Footy Judgment. Random one, but still, Tom, do you think Torres will be given a job by the club for the youth team or something? Probably not. Probably not. It doesn't make sense to. It doesn't make sense to, in the sense that why should we? Because unless he's the best man for the job, why should we? That's what I ask. Why should we? If he's not the best man for the job, why should we? Tom, we keep talking cheap. Why FSG will never backs on the pitch, and they never will. Us as fans need to wake up and force them out. 14 years of bullshit fight for your and my club. I've been FSG out for years, mate, but I ultimately won't change. I don't have much issue with the way they run transfers. We'll take Barcola or Kolo Muani. Kolo Muani is probably too expensive, and Barcola is everything I don't like in a winger, which is dribbling, pace, but no end product. I need end product from a winger. Will I sell Nunez and Salah for 200 million? Probably not. I want a little bit more. What would you change from now until the end of the season? Gakpo on the left, Jota up front, Salah on the right, Elliott, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Trent, Robertson, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk, Alisson. That team, and win every game. Does the club have a backup if Amram decides to stay or go elsewhere? Amram's not going to stay. Whether he goes elsewhere or not, I don't know. But the club should have a backup for that, because you should really have three options. Who that third choice is, I don't know, and I don't want to know, because they're not very good. But yeah. Will it take Tar at Leverkusen if we go to a back three? No, I want younger. Tar does the central job. So Tar would be what our Van Dijk is. Van Dijk is a better version of Jonathan Tar. That's what he is. He's a better version of Jonathan Tar. So I don't need the Jonathan Tar. The guy I'd take from a Leverkusen is like a what's his name? A Kasunu or Hinge Capier, the guys who played the left centre back spot. Again, why are we calling Szoboszlai the Hungarian Jason? I explained about 45 minutes into this stream what the thing is with Szoboszlai and why I think a lot of the criticism goes over the radar. Big ups, my guy Mo, for the super chat. I appreciate the support, mate. Love the stream, mate. Hope you have a better day today off the back of that shit show yesterday. Maybe this is a thing. I don't know about you lot. I get over Liverpool results pretty quickly. I never used to be able to. There used to be days where it'd affect me, or times where it'd affect me for days on end. But right now, I get over. I can get over results, should we say, and not let them affect me personally very quickly. And if people are sitting there being affected by results like this, I think I don't know what to say, but you just need to take a breath, take a chill, take a sit back. Football is the least important thing. It's the most important irrelevant thing in life. Do I want us to win trophies? Yes, but considering that I work in the football industry as my job, I know that it's not a good thing to have football results personally affect you for days on end. I can sit there and be annoyed at them, straight afterwards. But within 24 hours, I'm over it and focusing, on the next thing and not trying to be held back by it. I think that that's the way you've got to be in not just football, but in life in general. Big ups, Mo, though. Big ups, Mo. 60 million for Bastoni, test the waters. 60 million doesn't get Bastoni's left leg. He's the dream for left centre back, though. I'll absolutely kill for Bastoni at left centre back. If you had the choice, would you pick Shirky or Sescom? Sescom. Do I think Aram's coming? Yes. Sobo's playing at a low level for him, but we know his level same as Jones, so just give him time. Szoboszlai has not been played in a position which we bought him for effectively. He was a wide 10. That's why I like the feeling of Amorim coming in, because Amorim plays with a wide 10, which suits what Szoboszlai was. I know that people are worried about Amorim at this point in time. I don't have worry on that sense. This is a man who knows his time at Sporting Lisbon's over. He's done everything he had to do at Sporting Lisbon. There's nothing more for him to achieve there now, especially if he does get the league this year. And if you look at the clubs that are available this summer, bearing in mind from what I know, he wants to come to the Premier League. So you just go Premier League then. It's us, United and Chelsea. Chelsea are a shit show, which could be in trouble with the Premier League. That's a poison chalice for any manager. United, and then it comes down to who do you want to manage, United or Liverpool? And I think that Liverpool are in a better spot than United are. So I don't see why he wouldn't pick us. Plus, I think we've been working on this deal a lot behind the scenes. I wouldn't be shocked if it's pretty much done already, and we're just doing the decent thing of waiting for their season to finish before we announce anything. Marcus Edwards. Let's discuss. I've watched a lot of Sporting Lisbon this year. I've told you exactly what I don't like in a winger. A winger who is good at dribbling, who likes to beat a man, but at the end of the day, there's no end product. Marcus Edwards is the quintessential winger I hate. He's the quintessential winger I hate. He's very good at beating a man. He's got a lot of pace. He's very exciting to watch and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, the end product is just so lacking. So lacking. If you wanted to buy a winger from Sporting Lisbon, you go and buy Gonçalves. And he's not even an actual winger. But he can do a job. And I prefer that to what Marcus Edwards gives. Amorim doesn't start Edwards week in, week out. Amorim isn't the guy who... If you were to ask Amorim's best front three, Edwards isn't in that front three. So why are we going for him? If he's not in a Sporting Lisbon best front three, he's not in a Liverpool front three. That's that. Being said and done. David Hanko, again, I think that I'd be very shocked if Liverpool continue to shop in Holland, to be honest. I think that league, in terms of the recruitment quality, is lacking in certain aspects. And in that case, in terms of how we play, I don't think it's a league that we should shop in much more. I don't think we've had great levels of success from that league compared to other leagues. End product can be developed. I just want to double check Marcus Edwards' age real quick. I think he's 20. He's the same age as Nunez. A lot of people don't believe Nunez's end product can be developed now. Therefore, Marcus Edwards can't be. And Marcus Edwards' end product is crap. He's 25, people. He's not this 19-year-old. He's 25. The thing is, people, I don't have people in the chat saying, "Will I bring Jock?" I like Jock. I think Jock is an incredible footballer. We've got to bear in mind that Ruben Amorim isn't going to be holding a lot of recruitment power. Let's bear this in mind, people. We wouldn't bring Michael Edwards back just to say we're going to run it the way that we ran it when you fucked off. No. We're going back to the way that Michael Edwards ran it with success. And in that way, the manager doesn't have an awful lot of power. The manager gets to suggest the areas that he thinks need improving and, what he thinks he needs. But ultimately, it is down to the recruitment staff who we pay hundreds of thousands, if not millions a year, to do their job. It is on them to get something. Will Amorim get to say... when I say Amorim, I'll rather say Amorim will get to be in a spot where he goes, yeah, I agree. Yes, I like that. He will be shown options of who to buy. But this isn't a case of what we've had recently where it is Amorim, or not Amorim, Klopp goes, I want him. And then we get him. Amorim might go, I want him. And then Edwards goes, no, you're going for him. You're going for him. You're going for him. Because they hit them metrics. They fit those things. That's what it's about. We are data-driven. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. I repeat, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And if you're asking how much success we had before Klopp with Edwards, people act like Michael Edwards was our sporting director. You do realise Michael Edwards became our sporting director the same summer we bought Sadio Mane? Do people not know that? Do people think Michael Edwards was our sporting director in 2011? He was a performance analyst. That's what he was. He was a performance analyst. He then got promotions to be like head performance analyst or head of data analytics. And then he became the sporting director in 2016. He became the sporting director for Klopp's first full summer. And if you look from Klopp's first full summer to when he left, when Michael Edwards left, you have Keita, who was a dud, Ox, who was a slight dud, and Thiago, who's a slight dud. That's it. Everyone else was either a little success or a resounding success. That level of sustained recruitment quality cannot be understated. That's why I'm confident in having him back, especially if we get Amorim in. Especially if we get Amorim in. That's what I'm on about, people. But I'm gonna call it there because I've got to go stream now with Footy Judge Mo, Nobbins, and Rory Talks Football. I'm going to talk about Arsenal bottling it, Liverpool bottling it, handing the title to City, all this sort of stuff. If that's something interesting, stay on this stream. It'll redirect you straight to that video. Put in the chat something that just lets people know you come from here. Don't know what, but just put something in the chat and I'll know you come straight from here. But people, before we go, make sure you hit that like button on this video. I appreciate all the support. We've had about 100 people in the stream for like the last 30 minutes. Mental support. I appreciate it so much. But I'm going to call it there, people. I'm going to love you. Going to leave you. I'll see you in about 5 minutes on Footy Judge Mo. In a bit. To